Hello and welcome to a first in the series of the color compare videos. And the goals of these videos is to compare similar colors within the Army Painter paint range to similar colors in the Citadel paint range. And so I have taken out these 6 colors here that we're going to take a look at. And what I've done to kind of help us see what these are all about here is I've made up these popsicle sticks. And these popsicle sticks have a piece of sprue glued to them. So this is just Citadel, or not Citadel, but like Games Workshop sprue. So this is authentic Games Workshop sprue. Not that it really matters, but it's sprue that I have then painted half white and half black. And so the goal then is to look at these different colors on these to see, how does it cover against white or black? How do the colors look compared to each other? And how do they look compared between the different ranges? And so we're going to start over here on the Army Painter side. In Army Painter, we have 3 colors of silver that they offer. They do have this shining silver, which is a very light, I would say, chrome-like silver. And then they have these 2 silvers, which are very hard to tell apart in the bottle. And that's, this one looks a little darker. That's kind of why I wanted to do this color comparison. And so I put them on these swatches, and of course I labeled them. So we have our gunmetal, our plate mail metal, and our shining silver. You get them all under a very bright light, like my light I have on the camera, and they will all look fairly similar, but we can kind of see, we get a good focus on here, we can kind of see a few things. Number one is if the light's not shining directly reflecting off of these, I think you can really see that this is definitely the darkest one. This is kind of a middle ground, and this is definitely the lightest. The other thing you'll notice, I did do 1 coat on this. And I did that because I wanted to show you the coverage difference between the Army Painter and the Citadel. So take a look at kind of that coverage there, especially over the black. You can kind of see it's a little kind of splotchy. You can definitely see the brush strokes there. And part of that is maybe I'm not the greatest painter, but also really, I was really trying to smooth that out. And it's wanting 2 coats. Definitely wanting 2 coats with the Army Painter there. Again, that's gunmetal, plate mail metal, shining silver. Keeping them in that order for you. I think the shining silver looks very chrome-like in person. Kind of hard to catch silver on a camera, but we're doing the best we can. Moving over to our Citadel paints for a minute, and then we'll talk about comparing between the ranges here. We've got our base, our Iron Warriors. We've got Leadbelcher. I feel like this is kind of the ubiquitous, everybody uses it silver, just the default silver. And then we have this Iron Hands Steel, which is a very light silver. And you put them, I'm going to keep them in the order of the paint pots here, so we'll put them in that order here. We've got Iron Warriors, Leadbelcher, and Iron Hands Steel. And we'll look at a couple things. Number one is we'll kind of see, all right, what's the difference in the colors? And I think the Leadbelcher, again, you got to get into a part where it's not directly reflecting that ring light. I think our Leadbelcher is definitely kind of our middle of the road color there. Iron Warriors a little bit darker, kind of like these 2 Army Painters are very similar. They're very similar. And then Iron Hand Steel is, I would say, decidedly different. It is definitely a lighter kind of silver. Thing that I noticed with these silvers, the Citadel, number one is they cover 1 coat pretty well. So this is just 1 coat over the white, over the black. I'm painting most of my silver over black, so just kind of keep that in mind. I don't know, maybe you paint a lot of silver over white. That's completely fine. I'm going a lot over black or a dark gray, and so that's kind of the coverage I care about. So, talking just a little bit about comparing between the ranges. What's the advantage and disadvantage of each? I think the Citadel covers better in one coat. Absolutely one coat better coverage. However, and this is something that I'm not sure the camera is going to pick on at all, so you might have to take my word for it or see for yourself. I think the Army Painter's metallics are more metallic-y. Like, they're more shiny, they're more reflective, they catch the light more. Just in general, I think the Army Painter range as a whole is more of a true metallic paint than the Citadel. And so for the cost of putting 2 coats on there, and actually cost-wise, you're probably not even that big of a difference putting 2 coats on. I think your Army Painter is giving you that kind of metalier metal. Now, for some, you might say, well, that's a disadvantage for me. If you're kind of like maybe the non-metallic metal. Now, you're not going to use a metallic paint, even Citadel, for a non-metallic metal. But if you like that look more, maybe you like the less metallic-y metal more, that's completely fine. So there you go. If you were going to go with a Citadel paint for your silver, which one should you go for? I mean, you can't go wrong with that Leadbelcher. I think it's kind of the standard for a reason. Should you go to Iron Warriors? If you want it maybe a little darker, for some reason that Leadbelcher just isn't doing it for you, you could, but they're so close. Once you throw a wash over it, I don't think you're going to tell the difference. So I'd probably just stick with Leadbelcher. That's probably what I'll end up doing for most of my stuff, though. I mean, I've got a pot of Iron Warriors now, bought for this video, that I got to use up, so I'll definitely be using it on stuff. Of course, I'm no lack of silver paint, right? So here we have Iron Hand Steel, and this is decidedly lighter. Absolutely, if you're going to go for a lighter silver, or you want like something to look more shinier or more like chromy, like, I don't know, plate mail armor, kind of, a shiny chromy, or, chrome exhaust on something, your Iron Hand Steel would be definitely different enough you could go for that. So you pick that up if you want that effect. That said, though, if you were going for chrome exhaust, I'm going for the shiny silver from Army Painter here. This just absolutely, when you catch the light just right with it, it actually looks kind of like a chrome. And so I would seriously consider that for if you really wanted to paint something that was actually looking like chrome. Really consider the Army Painter Shining Silver. The difference between gunmetal and plate mail metal, so small. It's a smaller difference even than the Iron Warriors and the Leadbelcher. I would hardly even tell you to get one over the other. I'd say get whatever one is on the shelf at your local game store, or maybe more importantly, these are both 100% matched to the spray cans of the same color. So whatever spray can your local game store has in stock, get the always get the paint that matches the primers that you're using. So there you go. There's a little bit of a comparison there. As far as other factors, I think all the standard comparisons between Army Painter and Citadel apply. Here, your Army Painter, you're definitely, I don't know if you can hear that, using that those mixing balls in there, getting that nice and mixed up. You can throw some mixing balls in the Citadel. I find the bigger container, you shake it up, it shakes just a little bit nicer. However, some folks have some problems with these pots not sealing well, drying out their paint. No issue with that here. However, you do have to, do it out a drop at a time, so you might end up using through this a little bit faster. If I owned none of these, which ones would I buy? And the answer to that is I would buy the Citadel Leadbelcher and the Army Painter Shining Silver. This is absolutely amazing paint, the Shining Silver, some really shiny silver. Leadbelcher's still my kind of go-to for a nice, dark, dingy, yes, it's metallic, but it's definitely not shiny anymore. I play a lot of orcs and things, so I'd probably go for a Citadel Leadbelcher. But that's a nice thing about having, 2 different paint lines, is you can mix and match these for sure. So I hope that helps you figure out what silver to use on your various projects. One other quick thing to note is I do believe this is all of the silvers that Army Painter offers. Citadel, however, I know does offer one more silver base paint, or at least on the Citadel color app, they say they do. I was not able to find it at between two local game stores and a Warhammer store, and was not able to find a way to order it. So I think that color is actually no longer available. But let me know in the comments below if you can find it. I don't recall the name of the color right off, but I think it got replaced by, like, it was maybe an old name for one of these when they went through and named all their colors after Warhammer things. Also, these are the silver base paints from Citadel, so I am not comparing the Army Painter paints to the layer paints or any of the other, like the dry brush paints from the Citadel range. I find that the Army Painter paints are most similar to the Citadel base paints, and so that's what I compare with those. But maybe you'll find something that you like, more of a shiny silver or something in those layer paints. I don't generally use them, so I don't have them. I hope this was helpful. If you have more questions or you want to see something different done with these paints, or have different colors you want to see compared in the future, let me know. Do have quite a few of these videos in the queue, hoping to get these out to you on a fairly consistent basis here in 2022. Take care. Thanks for watching.